Okay, everybody. I hope everyone enjoyed the break. Let's start getting back to our seats and we will get started. Waiting on you, Niles. Waiting on you, Niles. So we didn't get the group picture, but I do want to get it before we do the next break and dinner because it seems like everybody just scatters. So trainees and PIPA participants, we want a group photo this afternoon. So for the next part of our presentation, we're going to have a guest speaker. She was a Partners in Policymaking Alabama participant last year and I enjoyed the program and wanted to come and share some things with you. I told her I had been bragging about her project and what she brought to some communities here in Alabama with that for last year. And I'm going to just want to introduce you to Melissa Hall and let her share a little bit about her life and her project. You want to stick on?
Can y'all hear me?
No, we've got people online.
Oh, online.
Remember.
Thought I was going to get rid of this thing. Is that if I go close to that? Okay.
Put this one in.
Well, while he's getting that ready, I'm Melissa Hall. Last year, about this time, I was sitting where you guys are sitting. So I am a very recent graduate. As my project, I decided to do a resource fair in a rural part of Jefferson County. And the reason why I decided to do that, as a parent of a child with disability, and he graduated high school, I didn't know what to do, where to go, where to get help. And I kind of went on this one-woman mission to kind of find out where resources were. And as I went around in my church family and in the community, I found out that other parents did not know anything about this world. And it is a separate world. If you're not in it, you don't know anything about it. And so I decided that I would try to bring state, federal, and local resources and try to introduce people to what a resource fair is like. So that was the purpose of me doing this project. Next slide. This was the flyer that went out on Facebook, Twitter. Also, it was sent to schools and churches as well. We tried to get it out to as many people as possible. But why? Why did I do this? As I stated before, awareness. Just to make everybody aware of all the resources, where they are, where do you start? Because that's a question that we always have is, who do I need to talk to? Next slide is, these are some of the people that I pulled for various reasons, because I could call them late at night and get things done. Zelda Miles did the flyer for me. Victoria helped me get a list of schools and things like that together. Daphne helped me get some of the resources, and Benita was trying to get it out with the local media. Y'all have, I'm sure, have seen this page by now, because you've had to fill it out for yourselves. This was my project planning guide, and all the different areas that I had to get filled in and what my plans were and how I thought through it, what was going to be what I considered success. So I'm sure you guys, if you haven't done it, it's coming. And I will say this about this. It's very important to keep a notebook next to you while you're going through your project and try to remember to jot down what you did, who you called, because you have to do this when you do your presentation. You have to give a list of what you did, how you did it. And it's so much easier if you have a notebook instead of me having to look through my phone logs. And then this is all the way down to when we had volunteers to arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, my goal was to increase awareness, and we did pull in all 3 groups, local, federal, and state, on a Saturday morning in Jefferson County, Hueytown. If you don't know where that is, it's west of where we are right now. Very small area. Things that I haven't updated this, but the things at the time I had to left to do was to send thank you notes to the schools, churches, and agencies. Send service letter. Actually, I didn't send letters. I got certificates for each one of the kids that volunteered. I got Hueytown high school ambassadors to volunteer on that day, and it was good because they were wonderful. They assisted people that were in wheelchairs getting from their car to where we were. They went around and handed out bottles of water because we were outside that day. Lessons learned. One of the lessons I learned is you need to establish a budget. I had $0 to do this project. And so I had to start scrambling. I had deacons and trustees from my church hauling tables and chairs from my church to the place where we had it. I had people who volunteered to provide meals for the volunteers that day. All of this is a little cost. And I would say if your project requires any cost, you might want to add a little extra to say a little side project, fundraising. Be aware of what's going on in the city. We had a couple of things that happened. COVID. We also had a lot of the dignitaries were in election season, so a lot of them had to cancel out at the last moment. I even had like the guy that was over the sheriff department, he was supposed to come, but then there ended up being this big venue downtown Birmingham and they had to pull the sheriff department. So we had those kind of things going on. Also, if you're going to advertise for your project, it's good to get mayors, city council, representatives, senators, but just know that you can't do it during political season when they're running for office because they just don't have time. But if you can get those people there, and the reason I'm telling you this is because the news media is going to go where those people are. So it'll make it easier for you if you got those people at your event because that's where the news is going to come and you'll get broadcast that way. These are some of my cohorts that actually showed up that day. And we had, because a lot of organizations could not participate because they were restricted because of COVID. They sent me flyers and brochures. And so besides that table, we had like 3 more tables that had just different flyers and brochures. Social Security sent me boxes of information. Any questions? I kind of went through that fast so that I want to show y'all some other things. Any questions? Okay.
Great. How many people came during that 4-hour?
About 40. About 40. And we did it for 3 hours, I think. But Since then, I've had the mayor of Hueytown call and say, hey, are you gonna do this again? Where before I called him 3 times and he wouldn't even take my call. But I've also had parents to call me because we had Alabama Care to come, and I'll show you that video. And so I put my contact information. So I've had parents to call me. I've had agencies to call me. And one of the great things that I noticed that was going on during the resource fair is that the agencies were connecting and talking to each other and finding out how they can work together. Because one of the problems in our area is that things kind of happen in a silo. This group knows what this group's doing, this group knows what this group doing, but they were actually talking and sharing cards with each other so that they can kind of work together. So that was one of the great things that I saw happen that I didn't expect to happen.
Not just in your area, I guarantee you.
Yeah, and my long-term plan, go ahead and just start showing some of these pictures. Long-term plan was to take this to a lot of the different rural areas in the state of Alabama. And these are some of the us setting up in some of the groups that were there. We had groups that would take care of itty bitty babies all the way to the elderly. It was kind of windy at first and it got hot. You'll see my hair goes into a fro. We had, like I said, a bunch of different agencies. We've had nonprofits as well that were there. And she drove from Montgomery. Uh-oh, sorry.
Is this on? Okay, I'm Chantel. Do you have a card? Because I'm gonna be working on a website for my project and I'm probably gonna need a lot of your information to share.
I can give you, how about a pen?
Okay, that'll work too. Thank you.
That's class training, which, for our people, there's mobility issues. So it was a welcome sight to come. And as you see back there, that's where people were coming in and we had people registering there on their way in so we could capture their information. Some of the agencies have called and I've sent them that information already, so. If y'all haven't heard of APEC, you might need to look them up. They do a lot of parent educational seminars. Like I said, all the way up to the elderly. That's University of Alabama. That was coming out. They were doing some kind of research at the time. So we allowed them to come and capture the seniors that qualified for her research. And there's me and my cohorts. And this is one of the parents that came. Her son actually had gotten shot in the head. And they were looking for resources, communication devices. So that was a great match. That's VR there at the table where she would get in contact with the engineers that would help her with that. And if you hadn't met Ms. Brown, and actually I had met this young lady at a event with hands. Our kids play kickball, basketball. I'm trying to think. I think they've done some bowling as well. And that's one of the things I would suggest too, is anywhere you go, strike up a conversation. I don't leave home without my phone. And in my phone is a whole bunch of resources because parents, that's one of the best things about it. Parents talk to parents. There's no filter. Parents talk to parents, and they will give you all the information. And as you see, it started getting busy at one point. We were dead for a while. Then it started getting busy. And these were my ambassadors from Hueytown. They came to work. And these are some of the volunteers. Most of them are teachers. It's happened that way. Oh, and the other great thing is one of my classmates owned her own food truck. So she parked it right in the center of everything. But on the other side, you have poles where Chick-fil-A and a taco place own the poles. So they were over there, except Chick-fil-A had because of COVID, had a shortage on employees. And so they couldn't bring their truck. So they actually sent one of their employees in his little car, and it was just filled with stuff. So it was fun. And this is where, before we set up, we had plenty of space out front and just as much space in the back as well. And then I want to show y'all one of the great things that Alabama Care, because I called them and had them to come out, because I felt like as a parent, I used to see in the past where people would, I would see ads for a resource fair, and I didn't really go because I didn't know what to expect. So one of the things I asked them to do was kind of capture what you would kind of run into at a resource fair, so we could share it with parents and kind of lower that gate of So I'm gonna let him play some of the agencies that were there.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Burt, and I'm here today with Alabama Care. We are here in Hueytown at the Disability Resource Roundup at Garywood Church, and we'll be here from 10 to 2, so come out and support. But so first up on the show, we have Miss Deb Schneider.
Hello.
Hello. So tell me a little bit about just what your connection is with this event.
Well, I am the executive director of the CHIP Center at Children's of Alabama, and CHIP stands for Children's Hospital Intervention and Prevention Services. It's a nice way to say we're the Child Abuse Center. And part of what we do is forensic medical evaluations for suspected physical, sexual abuse, neglect. And we also have therapy that is free of charge, and we do prevention education. So we do events like this and come out into the community to help prevent child abuse. Children with special issues or disabilities are at a high risk of abuse. So we're just out here trying to give information and educate the crowd.
That is so awesome. And how long have you been involved with CHIP?
Oh, I started CHIPS 25 years ago.
That's so awesome.
So I've been around a long time in this business.
Tell me a little bit about what your connection is with this. Awesome. My aunt, y'all you have to tell me with another guest at the Disability Resource Roundup. We have Miss Allison Haynes here. So tell me a little bit about what your connection is with this event today.
I am the outreach coordinator of People First of Alabama. We teach people with disabilities how to advocate for themselves and to know their rights and responsibilities so that they can have more choices in life and be more independent. Such responsibilities as you have the right to vote, you have the right to live out on your own, you have the right to have a job, and so on and so forth. We actually have a program called Young Emerging Leaders.
That's awesome.
In which we teach people with disabilities how to become better leaders within their own community.
So is that something that you guys sell or that you have at one of your headquarters, or how can people access that?
Well, they can actually go to www.peoplefirstal.net, and they can learn more about Young Emerging Leaders that way, and even how to be a chapter. We have chapters all over the state. Thank you so much.
We're back at the Disability Resource Roundup, and I have
Joanne Bennett.
Miss Joanne Bennett. So sorry. So tell me a little bit about what your connection is with this event today.
Hi, glad to have you
Yes.
having me on today. My connection is I work with the Alabama Department of Mental Health, and one of the family supports that we have is called the community of practice. And that's what we're talking about today. And the community of practice, it supports, the community of practice is supporting families of individuals with intellectual disabilities of Alabama, was developed to create systems of support for families throughout the lifespan. So what we do, we have information, and it's a resource for families throughout the lifespan, whether you have intellectual disability or developmental disability, or a person that cares for someone with a disability. And we send out this purple folder, everyone call it the purple folder, but it's resources, connecting families in Alabama for resources.
Back at the Disability Resource Roundup here in Hueytown. And today I have another Miss Joanne. So tell me a little bit about just what your connection is with this event today.
Yes, my name is Joanne Craighead, and I'm the state chair for the Individual and Family Support Council of the state of Alabama. And what we do, we bridge the gap between needs and services. If you have a need that just doesn't fit the existing service, then our council might be just for you. We have a small amount of funding that's provided through Alabama legislator to assist family with needs that do not fit the traditional mold of what's going on now. If you have a family member that fit our criteria, there are several criteria of disability that we fund. So if you would like to get in touch with me, my name is Joe.
To meet you. And we're back here at the Disability Resource Roundup. And today I have Theresa Mulder.
So one of the good things, and we kind of glossed over it, is each one of these organizations gave information on how to contact them. So we put this out, it's on YouTube. So anybody can access it and at least learn about some. We ran out of battery, unfortunately. That was one of the things about being outside. But that's what I did, and hopefully this helps you with your projects.
Any other questions for Mrs. Hall?
And like she said, she'd be around, and I have her contact information too to help you with your projects and advice and anything like that.
Be a part of a resource fair. There's one this spring with CRS in Homewood or Hoover, not sure. And you can reach Tammy Moore. She's also a PIPA graduate. And she's doing one this spring. Hopefully, I will be doing another one this summer. So
That's nice to hear. We were always wondering.
In round two that she didn't pick up in round one. Great project.
to help the better.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more than what I thought initially going in.
But you did it.
I did it.
No budget. Great, thank you.